a brotherhood where no man walks alone. No potential is wasted. Every man is challenged to discover his purpose, develop his skills, and live a life of significance. Together, we unlock the man, unleash the mission, and change the world. So I want to share with you in that message, that last line. Someone asked me yesterday, do we really need to have that last line and change the world? It's been my personal observation. I've said this to myself many times over the years. There are actually two worlds. There's the world and there's my world. I have very little impact and control on what happens in the world. I have a little bit more control and impact on what happens within my world. And I share that you each have your worlds as well, where you have impact in the things that you do and the things that you can control in your own world. So when I left that in there and changed the world, it means changing your world, the world that you live in, the one that you control, the life that you want to live. And it's my belief that if we live our best lives in our world, then we ultimately will have a better impact on the world, which we have very little impact on individually. So, with that, hopefully you enjoyed that. I will be sending everyone in the group a copy of not only this purpose statement, but also the 17 Club Creed, which is a much longer version, which kind of goes into the details of how we do that. And this meeting, ironically, with Dr. Joe visiting us today, is a starting point of us becoming who we're supposed to be. We've been meeting for over 18 months, 18 weeks. And we've covered the science of personal achievement. We talked about those 17 keys to success. But I'm not a believer that we've actually done what we said we wanted to do, which is to implement those keys in our lives. So moving forward after this meeting, you will find our meetings with more structure. We'll have an educational portion, maybe 5 or 10 minutes worth. We'll have a hot seat mentor shot where if somebody wants to put something out on the table as a challenge or something they need help with, they can take the center stage and we will work to help and support that individual. So we'll be more focused on implementation, not just education, not just entertainment. So thank you for giving me my time this morning, and it is my pleasure to ask my good friend, fellow colleague, and coach Luis Jimenez, who took the initiative, personal initiative, to invite Dr. Joe to join us today in our 17 Club Men's Mastermind group. And Dr. Joe, I understand you have no idea why you're here or what you're going to speak about. But I think that's so cool.
Well, I've been up since 3 a.m, so now I know what I'm going to talk about.
Oh, there we go. I love it.
It came to me. It came to me. Before that, no.
See what happens at 3 a.m. Good God. All right, Luis, please go with your
That's
introduction.
why I love this
yours,
man.
my friend.
That's why I love this man. That's what I'm learning. I'm learning to trust and I'm learning to talk to infinite intelligence. So that's the biggest takeaway. Dr. Joe Vitale was once homeless. Today, he's the author of over 90 books, starred in over 30 movies, including the hit movie The Secret. Everybody has watched that, right? And he is a musician with 15 albums out. He received the US President Lifetime Service Award 2 years ago and the Los Angeles Tribune Lifetime Achievement Award in 2021. His own movie, Zero Limits, which is an amazing movie, released last year, has won 27 film awards. He has helped millionaires and billionaires, royalty and presidents. And I'm very proud of this. At the age of 71, he began mixed martial arts training, and by age 72, received his blue belt in MMA. He knows the missing secret to success and wants to inspire the world to go for their dreams. Please welcome the man they call Mr. Fire.
Well, thank you. Does this mean I have the stage? Do I talk for a while, or do we have questions and answers? What do we do here?
Dr. Joe, the stage is yours. And the beauty of this group are the conversations that come out of that open conversation. So there's no
Okay.
structure in that regard. Anything you'd like to share with us? And I do know that we do have a couple of questions for you later on if you've got time. So go
Okay.
for it. Floor is
All right.
yours, my friend.
Yes, well, I'm here because of Lewis. I love him. He's been a great influence in my life. He asked me to be here. I didn't ask anything about the group. I didn't ask what I was supposed to do. Didn't ask anything about, time and place, and just simply agreed. So here I am. But at 3 a.m, my dog wanted out. And as a result of that, I was receiving information. I always keep a pad with me. There's secret number one. Always keep a pad with you. So when it started to come, I thought, well, maybe this is what I'm talking about today. And I wrote everything down. So I have 5 points that I'm going to go through based on what I sketched at 3 a.m. And then, as we say, if there's time, and there should be, we will take some questions and answers, and we'll see what we can do to unravel all of this. So I'm here for you. I am present. I have some information, and I'm going to begin now. It actually ties into what the introduction was all about, because the very first thing, and I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see my own writing here, is you live in a belief created world. Your world is created from your own beliefs. Now, most people don't know that. Most people don't believe that. Most people can't comprehend that. And even if you did buy it, most people can't unravel that. They can't unpack it. They can't find out what their own beliefs are. But I have said for a very long time that life is an optical illusion. What you get is based on your subconscious belief system. And if you believe that the world is a scarcity-oriented place, you can look out in the world and you'll find evidence. You'll find books, you'll find scholars, you'll find reports, you'll find studies proving scarcity. But if one day you woke up and decided you lived in an abundant universe, you'd look around and you'd find evidence for that. You'd find authorities, you'd find studies, you'd find books, you'd find Google reports, you'd find everything to support your new belief. Well, which one is actually true? Which one is actually true? Is it a scarcity world or an abundant world? And my view is they're both true. They're both true. In objective reality out there, they're both available to you. But in subjective reality, your beliefs attract your evidence and you live from your mindset, your viewpoint. Now, this is fantastic news, because if you're not particularly enjoying your life or parts of your life, there is the opportunity to find out what the beliefs are that are creating that part of your life. And when you find the beliefs, you can change the beliefs, and suddenly you have a different life. This is amazing. And so the very first thing I wanted to say is that your world is created from your own beliefs, and the beliefs are in your subconscious. And while I'm on the subject, I had mentioned in my own notes that your beliefs aren't just the ones that you inherited from your parents. They're also cultural beliefs. Depending on the country you're in, it has the belief system that you were born into and you absorbed, and you never once questioned it. You probably never even considered it. And maybe it's even news today that the culture, the country, the system that you're born into has been unquestioned. And that unquestioned belief system could be part of what holds you back from a flourishing life. So the whole first step here is the insight that your world is belief created, and those beliefs were downloaded from your parents and they were absorbed from the culture you're in. Along the way, as you were growing up, you selected some of the beliefs, but you did it unconsciously. You did it based on random choice, throw of the dice, and whatever evidence you selected at the time. So the good news is beliefs can be changed. The second step here, I'm a great believer in the power of intention. And I say all the time, you should be stating intentions. I stated an intention before getting on this call. Intention should be your new habit. You're making intentions not just for your life, but you take them by day. You take them when you wake up in the morning. What's your intention for the day? When you have different assignments or different phone calls or different appointments, what are your intentions for all of those? I like stating intentions because they aim the energies of my body, mind, and spirit to go in a particular direction. So I'm aiming the ship of my life when I state an intention. But there's something else that takes place that most people don't think about and they don't talk about. And that other thing is they cause your limiting beliefs to come to the surface. This ties back to that first step. The first step is you're in a belief created universe, but you don't know what the beliefs are. Second step is you state intentions for what you want to have, do, or be for your life or any aspect of it. And as a result of doing that, one of the first things that happens is your monkey mind starts telling you all the reasons why it won't work out. Well, guess what? All the reasons why it won't work out are the limiting beliefs. So by stating an intention, which is this insight number 2 for today's mastermind tutoring here, and by stating that intention, you trigger the limiting beliefs to become conscious to you. You become aware of them. Lewis mentioned me being in MMA. I'm in MMA because of him. He kind of challenged me, set down a vision for me, and I started to go in the direction of enrolling in MMA classes. At age 71, I'm 72 now. And don't think I just said, oh, I'll go do it. And it was just like, done deal. No, all of the limiting beliefs about what's possible for Dr. Joe here came to the surface. And as they were coming to the surface, I had to do all of the different techniques that I've been writing about, teaching, and sharing, and I'll share some today, this morning, to get clear of those. And as I get clear of the limiting beliefs, which became conscious and visible and aware to me because I stated an intention, I could get rid of the limiting beliefs and move towards the fulfillment of the intention. As Lewis mentioned, I've got my blue belt, which is quite an accomplishment for a guy who just started a year and a half ago. And I have publicly said I am going for my black belt. And as I have that as an intention, yes, there's doubts, there's skepticism, there's limiting beliefs. But I have enough tools in my bag of tricks to analyze those beliefs so I can remove them, so I can go to the fulfillment of the intention of a black belt by age 75 or somewhere in there. And so that's step 2, is to state an intention, partly to reorganize your life, partly to aim all of the energies of your life, partly to send the message to the universe. I'm a very metaphysical guy. I think the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is listening. And when you state your intention, you're placing an order with the universe. You're saying, this is what I would like to have. And so the intention is powerful on all kinds of levels, but also it reveals your limiting beliefs. That was number 2. Number 3 is, now that you know what the limiting beliefs are, you have to clear them. There's lots of different ways to clear limiting beliefs. Probably all of you here have a different favorite technique that you would use. I've written about them. I have coaching, mentoring programs. I do these on seminars. I have audios. I have books. I mean, my God, this has been my life work. And Lewis had mentioned in the introduction that I had found the missing secret to success. I think clearing subconscious beliefs is the missing secret to success. What I mean by that is we've all heard about setting goals. We've all heard about setting intentions, but we don't usually hear, let alone go deeper into what I call counter intentions. An intention, as I said here, is stating what you would like to have, do, or be. A counter intention is that part of you that doesn't agree with it. So you can say right here this morning, I intend to close more sales. I intend to get more coaching clients. I intend to increase my business. I intend to find my soulmate. You can say intentions all day long. But if there is a counter intention that says, I can't find my soulmate because all the good ones are taken, you just canceled your intention. If you say, I'm going to have more money coming in from sales, but your counter intention is something along the lines of, the economy sucks, the world is in chaos, people aren't spending money right now, or even other aspects of that where I don't deserve good things. I don't deserve wealth. I don't deserve money. Or even more than that, and this is more of a cultural thing, money's bad. Money's evil. Money causes problems. Money causes you to be, the enemy of your friends and all these other negative things. So these counter intentions need to be erased. They need to be dissolved. Another thing I did, and this is 12 years ago, about when I turned 60, I decided to be a musician. I looked at my bucket list, said, well, that's one of the things on my list. I had a few guitars, I knew 3 chords, but I didn't know how to write songs, didn't know how to sing, didn't do karaoke, didn't sing in the shower, didn't sing in the car, didn't do any of that stuff. But I stated the intention. I want to learn to write music, play songs, sing on stage, record my own music, make an album. The first thing that happened was absolute terror. Terror. So I thought, who am I to do this? What if I actually ruin my career after spending 60 years at that point trying to make myself as an author and getting noteworthy success, writing lots of books, and now I'm going to go and say, hey, now I'm a musician, and what if I suck? What if it ruins my brand and my name and my career, and it's just nothing but embarrassing? Well, all of what I just said are negative beliefs. They're all part of the counter intention mindset that needed to be addressed. Because I had been around the bend and down the block and so forth when it comes to self-development, I knew to use different techniques to dismantle all of those beliefs. As a result, I recorded 15 albums at warp speed. Some of my music is in some movies, including my own movies, Zero Limits. I'm in there playing guitar, and there's some music that I created in there. Some of my songs were nominated for the Posy Award, which is the Grammys of positive music. And I did perform on stage, nervously, but I performed and got a standing ovation. So when you take care of these beliefs that surface, now this is all in the third step about erasing the beliefs, I have found that you accelerate your path to getting results. My band, I call them the Band of Legends because one of them's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The others are professionals who travel with the Dixie Chicks and Robert Plant and, name people. And I came out of nowhere with nothing and no background and no experience or any of this. And I created 15 albums faster than any of them did. And I have more albums than any of them have gotten even today. And they're professional, lifetime musicians. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it that when you get rid of the limiting beliefs, you accelerate your progress to your stated intention. So all of this is around step 3. Some of my favorite ways of getting rid of beliefs, some of them, tapping, EFT, TFT, emotional freedom technique, thought-filled therapy. The tapping technique, I'm sure everybody here knows it. I'm not going to spend any time talking about it because the whole world has info on it. There's books, YouTube videos. If you don't know what it is, maybe look up the videos of Brad Yates, Yates. Brad and I did a program years ago called Money Beyond Belief. And it was about using tapping to reduce or eliminate the beliefs around money. So Money Beyond Belief is still out there. I think it's moneybeyondbelief.com. So tapping is one of the things that I still do. Ho'oponopono is a whole subject that would take another conversation to explain, but it's a Hawaiian healing technique based around 4 phrases of a kind of a prayer. And it's saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. It's early for me, and I've been up since 3, so pardon this. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you are the 4 phrases of Ho'oponopono. And you're saying them inside yourself as you're considering whatever the frustration is that you don't have your results just yet. Got to clear my throat here. And some of you probably already know about Ho'oponopono. I know Lewis does. And I've written books like Zero Limits, and the movie Zero Limits, which is at zerolimitsmovie.com, is all about Ho'oponopono. So there's resources there. What I'm getting at in this third step is a technique that's relatively new to me talking and teaching. But I tell people to become a good detective or a reporter or an attorney and cross-examine your own beliefs. Now, this is more or less a new technique, at least it's new for me to be talking about. And what it is saying basically is when you state an intention, you want to have, do, or be something. And as I say, what starts to bubble to the surface are the limiting beliefs. And you spot one, there's something there that's been reoccurring for you, and it's a statement of some sort, and you write it down, and you look at it, and now you want to examine it. And you want to really pretend if you were in court and there was a tough attorney who demanded the evidence for that belief, what would you say? That he or she attorney would come up to you and say, where's the evidence that this belief is actually true? And you'd have to reflect, and you might think, oh, I read it somewhere. And you might think, oh, my parents told it to me when I was a little kid. You might think, I never really questioned it before. I heard it on a movie or TV or something. What you're doing here is taking away the evidence for the belief, because the beliefs don't have evidence. The difference between a fact and a belief is that the fact, you can actually find some sort of evidence for it. You can measure it in some way. But a belief, that's usually a personal choice. That's a personal interpretation, often a personal interpretation about a fact. So what you're doing here in this third step or third insight is you're questioning your beliefs so you can weaken them, if not actually erase them and delete them. And that's a whole subject by itself, a whole school by itself, and it's the missing secret to success. Question your beliefs, be free of them, and you can run down the road. You can sprint down the road, accelerate down the road to manifesting your goals. Now, I want to talk about the fourth tip or insight that came to me at 3 a.m. People used to ask me all the time, because they would hear that I had been homeless in the 70s and I was in poverty in the 80s. And they would say, what's the secret? How did you get out of homelessness through poverty and now living the lifestyle of the rich and famous? And you're in 30 movies, you've written 90 books, you're traveling around the world, and so forth. And it frustrated me because I thought, you know what I did? I did everything. Everything. I read all the books, applied all the books, did everything I can think of doing to make all of this work. And then I had the insight, and this is the insight I want to share with you, that I think the number one most important element of success in achieving all these different goals, certainly all these tips, all these steps are important, but I really feel that this one beats talent, it beats luck, it beats creativity, it beats financial support, it beats all of them. And so what is this fourth insight? Persistence. Persistence. Never giving up. I wanted to be a writer when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. And I wanted to be a writer when I was homeless. And I wanted to be a writer when I was in poverty. But you know what? I was writing during all of that time. There was no evidence for success. There was nobody around me seeing that, oh, he's going to be a published author someday, or he's going to have such and such success. None of that was available. And there was nobody around me to say that to me. This was an internal, wouldn't even say it's a conviction, because I didn't always have the conviction that this is going to work out, but I did always have the hope and always took action. So persistence wins the race. This can't be stressed enough. This means getting up every day and doing something, at least one thing, in the direction of your dream, in the direction of your goals, and direction of your intention. I have done this in all activities, in all areas of my life. Lewis had mentioned that I have my movie. I've mentioned the movie Zero Limits, but what you don't know is that it took about 10 years to finally get my own film. 10 years. Way back when The Secret came out in 2006, and I was in The Secret, I saw the power of a movie. Here I am writing all these books, and not that many people are reading books. More people are sitting in front of their TV or their computer or their phone or iPad or whatever they have for the technological connection to the world. And I thought, I want a movie. If people are watching movies, The Secret got the law of attraction into the minds of the masses, and people are still watching the movie The Secret today, 20 years later, still watching it. Then I want a movie. And so I had the intention, but I had to hold on to it. There were a lot of false starts. There were a lot of people who promised things that didn't deliver, but I had to hold the intention, wipe out any beliefs that came up for me about this isn't going to work out, or maybe not for me, and all of those different things that surfaced. And as a result, I have a movie. And when Zero Limits came out, it was nominated for 40 awards. It won 27 international film awards almost instantly. It's now on Amazon. It's on Apple TV. Anybody around the world, no matter where they're at, can see it. You just go to zerolimitsmovie.com. But I had to be persistent. And that's the fourth step, being persistent. And the fifth and final one for our 3 a.m. tutorial here today is this is a big secret to success. And this is where Lewis plays in my life. And number 5 is about having support. Having support. And support could be being in a mastermind, which you're all in this wonderful mastermind. So you've already got a head start. You're getting support, being in a mastermind. But it can also be having a mentor, having a coach, having an advisor, having a friend who believes in you. One of the things that I've been saying most recently is that you can achieve by God miracles if you have somebody who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. This is huge. I wrote a book called Unexpected Kindness, and it was after Bob Proctor had passed, and I was thinking about how he influenced my life and how he was believing in me before I believed in myself, and I wrote about him. And the next day I remembered somebody else that wrote about him, and Unexpected Kindness became this book of all these people who were believing in me before I did and before I was published in most cases. And so having somebody who believes in you more than you believe in yourself, and by the same token, you believe in somebody else more than they believe in themselves, can accomplish historic breakthroughs. In the terms of Lewis, when I became president of the Napoleon Hill Institute, Cleona had asked me to speak at an event she was doing in New York. So I flew up there, I spoke at the event, and I met Lewis. And I was introduced to him as being a karate guy, karate champion. And I suddenly was a little kid again, thinking about the martial arts that I loved 60 years ago when I was a kid. I went to the YMCA and I learned a little routine, but I never forgot it, and I never forgot martial arts. But I didn't follow through. I went on with my life in other directions. But when I met Lewis, I started talking to him about martial arts, and we really hit it off, and I kind of cornered him for the entire event. We stayed in contact, and he went back to Texas. I went back to my new home in California, and he started sending me video clips that he made on his phone about routines I could practice on my own. And I would practice the routine, film myself doing it, send it back to him. And we had this little pen pal correspondence where he was teaching me karate by 2-minute videos on the phone, and I was practicing. And then one day he sent me a video and he said, I have a dream for you. I see you as having a black belt. There was no way for that to compute. I did not say I wanted to be a black belt. I did not intend to be a black belt. That was not in my consciousness. That was not in my awareness. That was not a stated intention. It came out of nowhere. But he planted a seed. He planted a seed. Because of that, we continued our little correspondence until I started to realize, well, if I'm really going to go and learn karate and I'm really going to go for a black belt, I actually need to get some in-person instruction. He's in Texas, I'm in California. And we're looking around. I found a school. I enrolled in Kovar's MMA, mixed martial arts. And I enrolled January 2nd, like 2 days after my 71st birthday. It was kind of like a gift to myself. And now, of course, I have my blue belt, and I have told everybody, I've been telling people that will listen, I'm going to get a black belt. Where did that come from? That came from a man who believed in me more than I believed in myself. He planted the belief, it grew inside of me, I accepted it, and now it is my intention to have a black belt, to earn a black belt by age 75 or so. It's a rough time period kind of a thing. But this is my whole point with this fifth tip. And most of you are already in a support team or support group because you're in this particular group. I don't know how many are actually members and how many are just visiting today, but you're in a support group. So stay in this group and help each other in this group. Get the support you need, but more importantly, I think it's more important, you give support to everybody around you. And whenever somebody says they want to do something or there's an inkling of a desire, put some sunshine on it, put some water on it, put some attention and love on it, and encourage them to go for whatever it is. So let me recap this, and then I can take a couple questions if there's time. I don't know the layout of the land here. The very first is you live in a belief-driven world. Yes, there's the objective world out there, but you don't really pay attention to it because you see the world through your filter. Your filter is your belief system. It's your mindset. And most of the time, we don't have a clue what our mindset is. We just live out of it. Number two is to state an intention because it'll move you in a particular direction. It'll align your energies. It'll get the universe on your side. And maybe even more important, it will illuminate to you, it will reveal to you the limiting beliefs that have been there all along, but you didn't know it. Now that you have an intention, they're bubbling up. The intention's drawing them to the surface. Third is to question the beliefs. Now that you know what the limiting beliefs are, tap them away, ho'oponopono away, do whatever technique you have to get them to go. But also consider being a belief detective and saying, what's the belief? Where did I get it? What's the evidence for it? Am I willing to get rid of it? What if I replace the belief with something that's more serving to me, and so forth? The fourth is you got to be persistent. You get up every day and you do whatever it takes to move in the direction of your dreams. And I don't mean you have to have heart attack type A behavior, but you do need to do something to tell yourself and the universe, I'm doing this. So every day you take persistence, take action. And the fifth is get support in a mastermind with the mentor, with the coach, and also be of support. Being of support to others will help support you. So that's my 3 a.m. note-taking 5 steps. Here we go. And what do you think?
I love it, Joe. If you can do that at 3 a.m., we can do anything, right?
Right.
What a great presentation. And for the record, Dr. Joe and I did not have a conversation about that intro about the world.
That's
I
right.
mean, the universe just kind of came into play with, okay, this is where we're going. And for the benefit of Dr. Joe, this group started through a conversation between 5 Napoleon Hill Institute coaches.
Oh,
When we pulled them out, because we have our own private mastermind on Mondays, and I asked the question, what do we want to do? And all of us came to the agreement that the biggest challenge that we wanted to handle was to help men be better men.
ah,
We felt that there was a need for that. And so we've been meeting weekly ever since making that decision. And thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. But I have a question for you. And then, of course, thank you for opening up for questions. We usually wrap this thing up about an hour, so right about noontime. If you need to go before that, we certainly understand. But my question is, in your opinion, what poses the biggest challenge for men in our society today? I think you touched on some of it in your presentation this morning. I'd be interested in what your opinion is. What can we do as men to be better, to be more valuable to the world?
What a wonderful question. I haven't been asked that question before, so I'm looking at it for the first time and also wanting to be transparent and authentic, inspiring, and helpful. All of that comes to mind. So when I think about this, I'm thinking that there is a certain weakness in men today. And please just kind of hear me out for a second here. A certain weakness. And I think that weakness comes from being afraid of being vulnerable and being afraid of being masculine. Those two things. Being vulnerable means being okay with saying, I hurt, I need help, I need something of some sort. The vulnerability is coming from an authenticity. I think the strength needs to come from honoring your own word to yourself and honoring your word to other people. Sometimes people will say, how do I build confidence in myself? And that could be from a man or that can be from a woman. And I would say generally it means you keep your word. When you keep your word, you build trust in yourself because you listen to yourself. And if you say you're going to do something, you don't do it, part of you that's listening goes, you're a liar. You're a liar. That weakens you. That will weaken you right there. So to the best of my ability, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it because A, there is that part of me that is listening. And if I don't do it, I have weakened myself. And B, when I say I'm going to do something and the people on the outside heard me and I don't do it, I have weakened their trust in me. In fact, I might have eliminated it. And so I find that for me, and again, I'm 72 reflecting on this and still growing. Bob Proctor said there's no finish line. We're all growing here. So I'm growing as well as everybody else. But when I look at this, it's more a matter of we need to say when we need something, we need to speak it. So that's being what some people would call vulnerable. But I think we need to speak it. And we need to build that inner strength by keeping our word to ourselves and others. That's my top level answer.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Wow, great answer for being put on the spot with a question you've never been asked before.
Right.
So let's open the floor up to anyone who has a question, a comment, something you'd like to share within the group. No judgment. This is a no judgment zone. So go ahead, Leroy.
Hi, Joe. Great to see you.
Thank you.
I don't know if you remember me. I'm a coach at Napoleon Hill Institute. I think
yeah.
I've seen you once or twice there.
Right.
So
Been a
yeah,
while.
great conversation. Something you said about cross-examining my own beliefs, and that's something I've been doing. And I think that's the greatest change I've seen is instead of taking what I'm learning to try to help others, I first help myself. You know, I gotta change my own beliefs.
Yeah.
Because my beliefs were, yeah, very limiting at one time, and there's still a lot of limiting beliefs, obviously,
Yeah,
but
we're
yeah,
all
and
growing.
yeah, so and just talking on a stage like this is, if I say I'm going to, because I decide I'm going to, so I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to talk. So, uh, so that's one of the things. And you talked about you'll find whatever you're looking for. Like if you think there's abundance in the world, you'll find it. If you think there's lack, I found something about because I grew up on the Bible, so I know the Bible inside out, but it was always a negative, you know, there was a negative connotation, about hell and all that.
Hmm.
Well, through the study of this material, I discovered, wow, you can do that with the Bible too. You'll find whatever you're looking for in the Bible.
That's
And
absolutely
so,
correct. Yeah, what a great insight.
It's really changed my life with, seeing it for the true loving God that we have instead of this hellfire and all that stuff. And I think when Jesus talked about hell, he was simply referring to, if we don't do what we say we're going to do, we're going to create a kind of a hell for ourselves.
Yeah, internal hell.
Yeah. So yeah.
Great
So,
insight.
Yeah. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate it. And
thank you, Leroy. Rob, I see your hand up, my friend. Go ahead.
Hey, Dr. Joe, nice to meet you, and thanks for being here. I've been following you for a while now with Napoleon Hill, and listening to you has been a pleasure, but actually getting to speak to you is even a greater pleasure. I take the, how do you say it again, Dr. Joe? Hokiponi.
Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono.
One of the places where I use that a lot is in the cryogenic chamber. So in the cryogenic chamber, it freezes you for about 3 minutes. And I just, they asked me, well, you want any music in the cryogenic chamber? I'm like, no, because I say that over and over to myself, in that cryogenic chamber. So it's just something that gets me in that state of mind, that mind frame where it's just an anchor, and I go for the freezing experience in the chamber. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're the first person I've talked to that has been in one of those chambers. And usually I heard people were in it for a minute, not 3 minutes. You must be some kind of Superman.
It is not pleasant. It is not pleasant.
You've done it too. Okay.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. Thank you, guys. Phil, I see your hand up. Go for it.
Yes, hi, Dr. Joe. I'm also a coach with the Napoleon Hill Institute. So grateful that you're spending your time and wonderful insight with us. I have a question. Maybe it's going a little bit further down, as you had mentioned earlier before, too, about vulnerability. What I do is I work with group grief coaching, helping people to go through adversity as a tool so that they can find peace of mind and calmness again. And it seems as though more often than not, men have two emotions: either you're happy or you're angry, and getting to the point where they can express the whole range of emotions in an emotionally intelligent way. And I was curious if you might have 1 or 2 tips that how can men start to embrace the idea we've got these emotions and we can work through them. Life isn't over, and I can still thrive no matter what my age is.
That's a great question. Wow. When we were going through the pandemic, I was going through a divorce. And while I was going through a pandemic and a divorce, my father died, and my mother died, and my best friend died, and a family member attempted suicide. And as you can imagine, that's a pretty lonely experience. We're in a pandemic, so you're not like you're getting together with people. But I had found that the way to survive was to get help, to find a safe place to express what was going on. My MO for most of my life was to keep it inside myself. It's the Lone Ranger. It was the John Wayne. It was the way that I saw the world and saw my father, for the most part, to keep it internal. And so it would be pretty much happy or angry for the most part. I mean, there was a bit of a scale there, but not a big one. As a result of going through all of these things all at once, which is a nuclear reaction in terms of pandemic, deaths, divorce, griefs, just massive, turn your life inside out kind of a thing. And there's a range of emotions there, many of them dark, and a lot of them around grief. I have found that I needed to get help. So I understood first it was natural. These aren't exactly pleasant emotions, but they are human emotions. And it was natural to express grief or regret or whatever the different emotions were there. So to understand that this was a natural part of the musical scale of life, these emotions, knowing that there was a safe place. I think that's one of the reasons that men don't express themselves, is they don't feel safe.
oh,
I don't know who just said that, but I would agree that's a big sigh. That's a big important thing. We need to be in a safe place with a safe person. I have been fortunate to know a lot of coaches, and I've had the same coach since 1985. She's almost 90 now, and she's a person I've turned to throughout since 1985. I was still struggling back then, but managed to meet her. So I have found that. Plus, I also have learned to raise my hand and say I need help when I need it. I'm also a big book guy, so I'm reading everything. And the Stoics were helping me. And Stoicism is often thought of as a place to stamp down emotions, but that's actually not the case. You want to express them safely and appropriately, but not stamp them out. That's a way of killing yourself. And one of the quotes, and I'm going to give this to the best of my ability, was from Seneca. And Seneca said, you have a choice. You have the ability to make things seem hard or easy or even amusing. You have the ability to make things seem hard or easy or even amusing. And I took that and ran with it because it really kind of twisted my head. So like I'm going through a divorce, a pandemic, deaths, funerals by Zoom, and all of this other stuff that was going on. So the default was, this is hard. But Seneca was suggesting, well, you could also see it as easy. That was a bit of a stretch, but I thought, well, that opened my window a little bit that I can see something else. And then he said, or even amusing. It was like, how do you get to amusing in this situation? And I saw an interview with Jerry Seinfeld where he was saying basically he lives for humor. And he says, if you're talking to him and you're not telling a joke, why are you talking? He doesn't want to listen. And he also said that when there's a catastrophe in the world, he and other comedians have the jokes that day, but they don't tell them because the world's not ready to hear them. And that let me know I have a choice. I can look at what's going on at any point in my life and go, it's hard. Seneca said you can make it seem that way. Hard, easy, or even amusing. So all of this is my answer, but I really think that we need a safe place to express it. We need to know that expressing these different emotions is actually normal. It's not just one extreme or the other, that there's a scale here and they're all worthwhile, and in the right environment with the right safety, we can learn from them, express them, and be healed by them.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Rob, I see your hand up again. Go ahead, my friend.
Hey, Dr. Joe. So, kind of dovetailing off this this discussion here that we're talking about, something I brought up in this group a while back was, I'm divorced. Me and mom are good co-parents, and we always talk about the kids, communicate well about the kids. But she said something a few weeks back that I took it in a different manner. So she was talking about our son, and said, our son's really sensitive, in a way that was, demeaning. I mean, and I think we've all heard that before. That person is really sensitive. That person, and I looked at that and I took it because I wanted to use that in a better way when we say that about our son. How can, okay, he might be sensitive, but he's also the new man coming into the world. This new world a man needs to exist in. So how do we define that in a positive way? And I went back to mom and I said, hey, let's use this as a positive way. Being sensitive means you can listen, you can express, you can communicate. But I just wanted your thoughts on that, Dr. Joe.
Yeah, I love it. Now, I'm going to give you an answer based on what I already know about you. And you practice Ho'oponopono. So in Ho'oponopono, the entire world is seen as a kind of an illusion. In Ho'oponopono, there isn't anybody on the outside. It's you and your projection of characters that are living out your own beliefs. So in Ho'oponopono, you go inside yourself and you correct your perception. So when I guess it's your ex, when your ex is saying something like he's sensitive and she means it in a kind of a negative, limiting way, that is actually voicing a part of you that believes that. In Ho'oponopono, you would take that and clean on it, to use Ho'oponopono terms, and you would be saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Not to her, because she doesn't even exist. You're saying it to your own connection to divinity, asking it to correct your perception that just spoke that. Ho'oponopono is actually a Hawaiian word that means to make right. And what you're making right is the more loving perception. So again, I don't know that this makes sense to anybody else on this call unless they're practicing Ho'oponopono. But for you, because you mentioned it just a few minutes ago, you need to understand, if you don't mind my saying this, that what she expressed is actually your belief. And so what you want to correct in you is that belief. You're saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, about that belief, not about her saying it, about it surfacing at all. And then as you clean it within yourself, you'll note that either she won't say it anymore, she'll say it differently, or it won't bother you if it is said.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Alex.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. Doctor, it's my pleasure to meet you. And just want to tell you something. Louis changed my life 2 times in this year. The first one, it's thank you to Napoleon Hill. And the second one, it's with you. It's with you because your life story is inspired to me.
Oh.
For now, never give up, and to be resistant and persistence. Thanks for believing in me, Luis. Thank you, brother. You know, you saved me. Thank you. This is all I want to say.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And, if I might share to all the gentlemen in the room, and yes, Cynthia, I see a lady snuck into the room. Cynthia Greathouse is trying for us not to see her, but she's there. She's a good friend, and we caught you. But that's why we're here today, guys. That's why we're here every week, is for us to have a safe place where we can be vulnerable. We can be masculine. We can be men without being concerned about judgment. The opening, when you see the replay, the opening to our video replay, as generic as it is based on my technical skills, starts out as we don't have to walk alone. And so many of us as men think that we have to walk alone. They think that if we ask for help, it's a sign of weakness. If we shed a tear, it's a sign of weakness. It's not. We're human beings. So if you're new to this group and I don't have your email, I would encourage you to send me an email, put it in the chat. If you received an invite, I've got your email, so don't worry about it. But we meet like this every week, and we should have a showing like this every single week. Now, I know that Dr. Joe was a great draw for all of us to come together. And what an example of what personal initiative, communications can do for us as people. Most people would say, I can't talk to Dr. Joe. He's famous. And he is famous. And Dr. Joe, I don't know if you remember, but at that same event in New York, you and I had lunch together.
I do remember.
And that's where Dr. Joe shared with me that his dad was a Marine.
Right.
So guess what? We're brothers. We're related. But he's a real human being, and he's had a life, and he shared with some of that life with us today. There's nothing that we can't do if we set our mind to it. And there's nothing that we can't do that we don't have to do it alone. We can turn to our friends, to our brothers who meet in this room every week on Tuesday morning at 11 Eastern time, just to share, support, engage. So, Dr. Joe, we got about 5 minutes left. Do you have any final comments for us? And of course, I want to thank you so much for taking your time. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. So, and he's been up since 3 a.m., dude. That's like half the day's already gone for him.
Right.
Yeah. Final comments from you, Dr. Joe.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity and the honor of being here. And thank Louis for arranging for it and inviting me. I wanted to give out a few websites. These might seem self-serving, but I also think they are inspiring to you. First, the movie, my movie, Zero Limits. It's at zerolimitsmovie.com, zerolimitsmovie.com. You can see it on Amazon Prime. You can see it on Apple TV, but links to all of that is simply at zerolimitsmovie.com. I'm in another movie. The world premiere is going to be in Culver City, June 11th. So that's like next week. The Pillars of Power. And it's at thepillarsofpower.com, thepillarsofpower.com. If you can make it to the world premiere, come up and say hi to me because I will be there, Culver City, June 11th. I do have my own mentoring program. It's at zerolimitsliving.com. You can go check it out, zerolimitsliving.com. I do have a great offer where you can get a lot of my material for $3. It's at zerolimitsmethod.com. There's 3 different courses, including the missing secret and the 3-day rule and money, love, speed. I think are the 3 packages, $3 for them. zerolimitsmethod.com. So there you go. Just a few things that you can go check out. Again, I'm honored to be here. I got to take my dog to the vet now. So, you know, this is life.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. I truly, from the heart, appreciate you being here for us. And I want to have an open invitation. If at any time you want to join us, we're here at 11 o'clock on Tuesday mornings.
All right.
Luis, my brother, I want to thank you for having the personal initiative, being a great friend, a fellow coach. And I invite all of you to, I know I'm going to be watching this replay a couple of times. So many nuggets of information that can help all of us. So thank you all for your time. I appreciate you all and have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone.
Grazie, everyone.
Thanks all.
See you all, guys.